What is going on, everybody? Rob here, and today I'm here with my special guest.
What's going on, everybody? It's Thundershot.
And today we have quite a controversial topic that a lot of you guys probably be like, Rhymestyle, why? Why would you say that? And
yeah, he calls it controversial. What he means is everyone's going to hate me after this.
yeah, so it's okay. I don't even know how to start this without sounding like a dick. All right, before I finish my sentence, hear me out first. I personally don't think that Raging Blast 3 or Tenkaichi 4 is going to be a good idea. I know. Why would I say that? It's absolutely ridiculous, especially after Treevax put together an incredible plan for Raging Blast 3. Let me just go ahead and break everything down before I really...
Get your pitchforks and torches out now, kids.
Before you stab me and light me on fire, let me tell you why I said what I said. So, Raging Blast 3, let's talk about that first, because that was the most recent game that a lot of you guys are more familiar about than Tenkaichi 3. So, Raging Blast 3, Raging Blast 3, as you guys know, never came out, but people keep thinking that Raging Blast 3 is going to be next to the series. Raging Blast 3, Treevax made a really amazing plan for the game that I think if that was exactly how Bandai Namco did it, with whoever they partnered with, it would be an incredible game. Now, the problem is what Treevax made, Bandai Namco and whoever the developers would not give us that game. They wouldn't do it. Think about it. Like, as great as it is, I'm pretty sure there's going to be somebody in that creative that's going to be like, you know what? Let's do it this way instead of that way. And like Treevax gave us exactly what us as a community would want. Like every single person that looked through his plans, if you haven't seen it, like look up. I will link at Treevax's page in the description below, so you can look at his actual plan. And also I'll link my original video where I talked about it back like 2 years ago. But Treevax gave us an incredible thing what we as a community want, but just knowing how these companies work, I don't think they would give us exactly what we want. They would probably look at everything and be like, yeah, let's do it this way, we're going to do it that way, and by the time Raging Blast 3 comes out by Treevax, it won't be Raging Blast 3 by Treevax, it will be something else. And would it be better than Raging Blast 2? Possibly, but remember, the reason why we all fell in love with Raging Blast 3 is because we saw the game concept that Treevax made, and since we wouldn't be getting that, it wouldn't be that great of a game. On top of that, we have high expectations. Like, basically, we saw everything that Treevax was put together for us, so by the time that game came out and our expectations are already sky high, if those expectations don't get met, we'll automatically dislike the game. And just going into that game, it will be a bad game. So that's why I don't think Raging Blast 3 would be a good idea. Now, if, well, do you want to counter before I go into the next part? Do you want to counter that?
Well, I think it's kind of like how you said it. It would all just depend on how they delivered it. If they delivered the game that we wanted, that would be, I mean, obviously best case scenario, it would be totally a good idea. The problem is that companies, first of all, sometimes I think we as gamers almost, we believe the hype too much, so we'll set our demands a little too high, so we're almost always disappointed. That's a problem that I think a lot of people have. But if they did take the time to at least deliver, give us Raging Blast 2 plus almost, like give it its own story mode, give it its makeover, but keep it at the core what it was with Raging Blast 1 and 2, and give us Raging Blast 2 plus a little bit more of a game to make it 3. I think that would work out okay, but it's pretty much how you said it. It's how they would deliver it that would make that a make or break.
Well, to counter that, my problem with getting just Raging Blast Plus is I want something different. Like, the thing that's great about Dragon Ball Z games in our community is every year we get a different game. Now, a lot of times it's been a pretty terrible decision to make a game like Olo Tenkaichi or Connect, which, were awful games, and Battle Z, let's not go into that. But the fact that they gave us different games, like, at least gave us something new to look forward to. The thing that sucks about Naruto games is every Naruto game has been the same for the last, like, forever. Like, Naruto Ultimate Ninja, it's been literally the same game, and there's really nothing new to expect, which is both good and bad. It's like, why break something that's not, or why fix something that's not broken? But at the same time, I want something new. I want a new experience, and I think just mainly because with DBZ games, we always got something different. Therefore, we're just kind of trained to get something new every time.
That's another thing. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like I'm hating on gamers. I am a hardcore gamer. That's another thing you see a lot of the, I don't want to call them complainers, but people who differ in opinion. We see it in the Call of Duty community. People really, really, really like Call of Duty, but then they complain every year that it's the same. It's like, well, if you want it to change, it's not going to be Call of Duty anymore. It's going to be the same thing with Raging Blast or Ultimate Tenkaichi. It's like, if you want something different, we'll give you something different, but don't get mad when it's not the same. But
and to go off of that, I was one of those guys. I loved Modern Warfare 2. And Modern Warfare 1, and then after that, I just could not play Call of Duty games ever again, until Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare was pretty cool, but it's still, end of the day, it's still just another Call of Duty game. Now, with me, as a DBZ fan, like I said, I want a new experience every single time, and if they gave us just Raging Blast, 2.5, or I guess their version of 3, I would get it, I would play it, but like, I still couldn't completely enjoy it. Because just to criticize Raging Blast 3 for a second, or Raging Blast for a second, my favorite DBZ game in the series ever in existence was Tenkaichi 3 or 2. Actually, Tenkaichi 2. Tenkaichi 3 was the upgrade of that. It was basically Tenkaichi 2.5. But my favorite has been Tenkaichi 3 because it was so perfect in terms of like you could actually get really good at it. There was a huge skill factor and a learning curve there. But when Raging Blast came out, my big problem with Raging Blast was it was dumbed down so anybody could pick it up. Like the problem is and this is weird, Bandai Namco got a lot of complaints about how difficult it was to play Tenkaichi 1, 2, and 3, and I don't know why. I don't know who's complaining, but they got a lot of complaints. Which is funny because it was their best-selling game yet. Out of all the DBZ games released, it was their best-selling game. Yet, people complained about the most. And because of that, when they made Raging Blast, they dumbed it down so anyone could pick it up and learn to play, which essentially killed the learning curve. So I was not a huge fan of the Raging Blast games. Now, I enjoyed them, but, going from a game like Tenkaichi 3 to Raging Blast, to me, was a huge downgrade. So that's why I wouldn't really want a Raging Blast 3 game in the first place, just because, especially with Xenoverse, I think Xenoverse to me is a better game than, based off the beta alone, it's a better game than Raging Blast 2. Way better game.
Okay.
And
just to clarify... the reason I am here is because Rhymestyle is talking about how he doesn't think Ultimate Tenkaichi 4, Raging Blast 3 are good ideas for games. I'm here to play the role of the other guy who thinks that those would be good ideas, but just for the sake of what the argument that I'm about to bring, I'm going to suspend the idea. Take me back 6 months. Xenoverse hasn't been announced yet. It's not even a thing.
Okay.
If you take me back then, like Battle of Z just ended, or even before Battle of Z, I am 100% on board. I still think, like I said before, Raging Blast 3 is a fantastic idea. However, after seeing Xenoverse announced, I'm a little bit more excited, like you said, for something new. That being said, if they were to release Raging Blast 3 right now, or 6 months after Xenoverse came out, or a year after Xenoverse came out, I would get it, and there would be a lot of comparisons drawn. But I still think it would be a good idea. I think a lot of people could enjoy some Raging Blast 3.
I agree. Actually, going back 6 months ago before Xenoverse, I would be like, I'll be all for Raging Blast 3. But the thing is back then I would be all for getting a game that's just slightly better. Because with DBZ games, we always got the game the next game that was slightly better. Like honestly, I was looking forward to Battle of Z2 last year because I figured Battle of Z1 was a great blueprint set up for the game. And if they add, certain elements into Battle, it could be a good game. Because Tenkaichi 1 to me was an awful game. But then when they released 2, I was like, holy crap, they improved this much? Tenkaichi 1 is almost unplayable. And here we are, Tenkaichi 2 is technically... Dude, Tenkaichi 2 got like a 9.5 from IGN. A 9.5. That's for an anime game? An anime fighting game, we got a 9.5. That's huge. I think it was IGN. It was one of the big reviewers. But they gave it a pretty good score. And I really enjoyed Tenkaichi 2, which takes me to my point into Tenkaichi 4. Here's the reason why I think Tenkaichi 4 is going to be a bad idea. Now, again, hear me out first. And I have, Thunderstrike here so you can basically give his opinion and the opposite side of why Tenkaichi 4 would be a good idea. Tenkaichi 4 would be an incredible idea, but I feel like they would ruin it, honestly. Because the thing is to those, a lot of people might not know, because I'm pretty sure that not many people did play 2. Tenkaichi 2 was actually the best in the series in terms of gameplay and everything. The reason why Tenkaichi 3 is the more memorable one and the better one is because Tenkaichi 3 had more to it. Tenkaichi 3 is more of a Tenkaichi 2.5 where they added more characters and more stuff like that, more attacks, and that's why it's better. But Tenkaichi 2, in all reality, is the better fighting game, which is why Tenkaichi 2 got the better review score than Tenkaichi 3 did by all the big reviewers out there. Now, my problem is just knowing the trend, knowing how a lot of people complain about Tenkaichi 3. If Tenkaichi 4 was to come out, but first of all, Spike doesn't exist anymore. Spike, the developers of that game, they fused with they're now called Chunsoft. So that means they don't have the original developer team that made Tenkaichi 3. So that's already a #1 flaw, which means it won't be the same game. The other flaw is the fact that a lot of people complain, so if Tenkaichi 4 did come out, something would be removed that made Tenkaichi 3 so memorable. They will remove something, I don't know if it's like the learning curve or something, they would remove something that made Tenkaichi 3 so good that would automatically ruin 4. So, and that's the thing. And on top of that, let's not forget the whole expectation thing. Like, if a Tenkaichi game was to get announced, we would go in there with huge expectation, only to get disappointed later where they can't keep up with our demands. So that's the reason why I don't think Raging Blast 3 or Tenkaichi 4 will be great choices, especially now that Xenoverse is coming out. I am so stoked for Xenoverse because, #1, it's a good game. #2, they're bringing back the fighting elements. And #3, it's something different. It's something different, unlike the previous games where every year it's like basically Call of Duty syndrome. What do you think about that?
All right, well, you did have a bit of a point with Raging Blast 3. Like, your argument was pretty solid there, because it felt like with the exception of Battle of Z, which some people even kind of skimmed or skipped over, we were just kind of coming off Raging Blast 2. I was even still doing, when Battle of Z was out, I was even still using Raging Blast 2 footage for my video background sometimes. But I feel it's slightly different in Tenkaichi 3 because, one, the character roster is vastly superior. It's not the dumbed-down version that is Raging Blast 2. But my main point is going to be they can make Tenkaichi 3.5, and I think everyone would still be completely thrilled at that. I know you said the whole new development team, but just if they took a very, very basic setup, I mean, pretty much copy-paste, update the graphics, include the whole new Beerus God system, God Frieza when he comes out, whatever. And then maybe add a few new features, give it a different or altered story mode, whatever. Add create a character, because we see that in Xenoverse, and that's something people have wanted for a long time, depending on how they chose to do create a character and release that. I think people would be thrilled, mainly because...
I would be thrilled for that. I would be thrilled.
You can give us the same game now because it's been so long since Tenkaichi was released. It never hit Xbox 360. It never hit PlayStation 3, and here we are an entire generation later. So if you give me a 2-generation upgrade to Tenkaichi 3 and add it to current stuff, throw in customizable characters, maybe customizable key blasts, I'm sold. I'm 100% sold. That's going to be one of the best Dragon Ball Z games of all time.
Just take a 2 step back to what you said. I wouldn't even mind an HD remix of Tenkaichi 3. Like, just give us Tenkaichi 3 with online mode, and I'll be very stoked as a fan. Like, I would love that. I would love that more.
For the record, just not to interrupt you, but to put this to rest, I've had people in my comment section all the time. A long time ago, I made a video about a petition to remake Budokai Tenkaichi 3. They've taken that petition down since, and I haven't talked about it because they are focusing on Xenoverse right now. They're not going to release another Dragon Ball game while Xenoverse is in there. But that's just where I'm coming from on that one. But anyways,
I was gonna say I would actually love a remake, an HD version of Tenkaichi 3 than a brand new game. Well, so here's my ranking. Right now, the thing I want the most is Xenoverse, followed by a HD remix to Tenkaichi 3, and then, like a Raging Blast 3 or maybe a Tenkaichi 4. Because, like, at least we get Tenkaichi 3, we know it's a good game. We know what to expect. We know that you can't screw up there for them. Just up the graphics, maybe give us a couple of extra characters like the gods, and give us online mode, and we will be stoked as fans. Like, we could take Tenkaichi 3 to, like, tournaments, like, because that game actually requires quite a bit of skill to get really, really good. And it was a fun game overall. But going back to what
I was gonna say to describe my list real quick. Just the if you give me the Tenkaichi 4 that I just described, that would be the #1 thing I would want to see, because I would know if it's exactly what I just described, that's going to be a really solid game. Underneath that, I would put the potential Xenoverse has is completely huge. That would be the next thing I would want to see over the Tenkaichi 3 remake, because like it's been a while, but we've seen that game already.
I agree.
But Xenoverse still has the potential to not be as high up there as what we've seen before. I'm not hoping for that. I don't think that it'll flop, but we haven't got to see the full game just yet.
And going back to what you said, if they gave us Tenkaichi 4 exactly how you described it, I would be stoked. I would be all for that. Like, I would probably put that at the top of my list. I just knowing how companies work, I don't think that's gonna work. But the thing that scares me the most about Tenkaichi, so here's me going back to Tenkaichi 4, why it's a terrible idea. Technically, Ultimate Tenkaichi was Tenkaichi 4 because Spike made that game, and that goes back to what I'm saying is they could take what people complain about and try to remove it. So technically, Ultimate Tenkaichi was Tenkaichi 4, and that's exactly kind of what was my fear. It's like,
that's painful to accept right
that's
now.
what I'm saying. Exactly, that's what I'm saying, and that's the worst game ever. Like Tenkaichi 4, or Ultimate Tenkaichi was a no-brainer. Just literally up the graphics. Give us the same gameplay, give us that roster, and we're happy. And what did they do?
Yeah, see, they stripped Tenkaichi 3 and gave us like the worst customizable system.
Yeah, it was terrible.
Really, really garbage story mode. And they did what you said. I mean, when they were talking about the learning curve for Tenkaichi 3 was too high, what did they do? They made rock fucking paper scissors. You can't get any more dumbed down than that. That's just my biggest fear. Again,
like when I say people complain, I mean a lot of people complain. Like, I don't know where they're. Like, I remember I used to see it in forums and stuff back when I was like browsing the internet back when Tenkaichi 3 was a hot game that everyone was playing. I kept seeing people say, "Oh, I can't play this game. It's too hard. It's too hard." What's hard about it? And on top of that, there's a bunch of reviews like it's hard to play. No, it's not. Look. Any game you pick up is going to be hard to play. Remember when Assassin's Creed first came out and they had when they revealed the broken controls? It's like you have to hold L1, you have to hold R1, you have to hold this to do that. It was like pretty split up. But what happened? People learned how to play it, they got used to it, and then next thing you know, no one ever talked about how crappy the controls were in Assassin's Creed ever again.
Yeah, Christ forbid those dudes who were having trouble with Ultimate Tenkaichi 3 ever try to play Dark Souls.
Yeah. But again, this is my fear. My fear is while Raging Blast 3 and Ultimate Tenkaichi 4 are great ideas and look awesome on paper, especially what we saw Treevax develop with his idea for Raging Blast 3, I just don't think we would get that. And I just don't think we'll get there. And I'm just more for getting a Xenoverse right now, now that I know it exists. And that's the future that I want for DBZ games. Like, I want new games and maybe a Xenoverse 2 and stuff like that. But I don't want them to announce old games as a revival just because, number one, our expectations will go up and we'll automatically be disappointed from the start. And number two, you know, something will get taken away. Because again, we saw what happened between Tenkaichi 3 and Ultimate Tenkaichi. It's just, that's embarrassing. Awful.
Well, I mean, technically, remakes have given us one of the greatest games of all time in Sonic 06. I don't know.
Oh, I love that. Sonic Adventure 2 was my all-time favorite Sonic game. And then they just, I don't know, they just decided not to make another good Sonic game ever again.
And then Sonic 06.
Dude, I love Sonic Adventure. I have the original Dreamcast version actually right in front of me. I'm staring at it. Yeah.
Oh, that's boss. So to kind of finally cap off, if we could actually get what we wanted, what we expected out of Raging Blast 3 or Ultimate Tenkaichi 4, those would be our go-tos. But aside from that, the potential of Xenoverse versus what we would probably get out of the remakes of Raging Blast 2 or Raging Blast 3 and Ultimate Tenkaichi 4, we're going to take Xenoverse on that one. Is that pretty much the general consensus here?
Yep. And both of us, both me and Thunderstorm, want to know how you guys feel about what we just covered. I know probably by now people have posted you know, pitchforks and torches without even listening to the video yet, just based off the title alone. But to those who actually got this far in the video, what do you think? Like, do you agree, disagree? Let us know in the comments.
Would you want a Budokai 4? Take me back to the 2D
Budokai 4.
action.
I always saw Burst Limit as Budokai 4, to be honest.
And
Burst Limit to me is a fun game. I just actually discovered it 2 weeks ago. I know I'm kind of late, but Burst Limit is a fun game to me. It's a really fun game. It's a little dumbed down compared to Budokai 3, which again goes back to my fear that every time they release a game, it gets dumbed down, ironically. But if they do release Budokai 4, that's actually an upgraded version of Budokai 3, then I'm all for it. I'm all for it.
Because there are a lot of people who actually just miss the 2D fighting DBZ days.
Yeah, because I know
Or inputting a billion buttons to do a spirit bomb.
Good old days. But what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you punch that like button. Check out Thundershot's channel and vice versa in the description below. And yeah, we'll see you guys in the comments because I'm sure that you guys have a lot to say of what we just talked about. Any final comments or anything?
No, thanks for coming out. Hope you guys enjoyed today's little debate topic rant video thing.
And we will see you guys in the comment section below. Bye.
Peace.